Most startups don't fail because the idea was wrong. They fail because the founder's mind breaks first. And right now, I'm going to show you exactly how to make sure that never happens to you. Here's the first thing most people get wrong about building a company. They think changing direction means they were wrong. They treat the pivot like an admission of failure, something to be ashamed of, something that signals weakness. And that belief alone kills more companies than bad products ever will. The companies you admire most today, almost none of them are doing what they originally set out to do. Instagram started as a location sharing app called Bourbon. Slack began as a video game company. YouTube was a video dating site. And Twitter came out of a failed podcasting startup. Here's what these founders understood that most people don't. A pivot isn't giving up. A pivot is what happens when you're paying close enough attention to reality. It means you launched something, collected real data, talked to real users, and found a signal worth following. The founders who can't pivot aren't more committed, they're just less honest with themselves. The best mental model here is this: fall in love with the problem, not your solution. When you're in love with the problem, when you genuinely obsess over what's painful for people, the solution becomes secondary. You'll happily change it the moment a better one appears. But when you're in love with your own idea, every piece of contradictory evidence becomes a threat. Ask yourself right now, if you got proof tomorrow that your current approach wouldn't work, would you be relieved because now you could find something better, or would you be devastated? Your answer tells you everything about how you're positioned to build. Here's a fact that nobody puts in their retrospective blog post. Every great company you can name has had at least one moment where it almost ceased to exist. Not almost failed to hit a milestone, almost ceased to exist. Running out of money, losing a key co-founder, a product that users simply wouldn't use, a competitor with 100 times your resources. These moments are not exceptions in the startup story. They are the rule. And this matters for a very specific reason. The near-death experience is the forge. It's where founders discover what they're actually building and who they actually are. Every decision you've deferred, every assumption you haven't tested, every team member who was technically fine but not great, in a crisis, all of it surfaces at once. The companies that survive those moments come out with something invaluable: conviction rooted in evidence. They're not hopeful anymore, they're clear. They know exactly what their product does, who it's for, and why those people can't live without it, because they had to find out when the alternative was shut down. So here's the counterintuitive advice. Don't try to avoid your near-death experience. Try to have it early, on purpose, while the stakes are still manageable. That means launching before you're ready. It means setting aggressive milestones that force honest conversations. It means getting into rooms where someone can say no to you and meaning it. The founders who eventually thrive are almost always the ones who manufactured their own crisis. There's a trap that almost every founder falls into at some point. And it goes like this: if I just add one more feature, one more use case, one more customer segment, then we'll finally unlock growth. So they build more, they serve more, they spread their team thinner and thinner. And somehow, the growth never comes. This is one of the most documented patterns in startup failure, and it has a name. It's called the feature trap. And the escape from it is brutally uncomfortable, because the escape is focus. Here's what real focus looks like. Not focus like you intend to be focused. Focus like you have publicly committed to building one thing for one kind of customer. And you have told everyone, including your investors, that everything else is noise. That kind of focus. The kind that feels irresponsible. The research on this is unambiguous. The products that win categories are almost never the most feature-rich. They're the ones that do one thing so exceptionally well that the entire market stops comparing them to alternatives. They don't compete, they define the category. Here's the test. Can you describe your product in one clear sentence that says exactly who it's for, what it does, and why it's better, without using the words platform, solution, or ecosystem? If you can't, you don't have a product. You have a roadmap. Focus doesn't come from saying yes more carefully. It comes from learning to say no to things that are interesting but not essential. And that is a skill most founders only develop once they've lost too much time doing the opposite. This one is hard for builders to hear. The best product almost never wins the market. The product with the best distribution does. And most founders, especially technical founders, spend 90% of their energy on the product and 10% on how they're going to reach people. The companies that beat them spend it the other way around. Think about this carefully. There are hundreds of productivity tools better than Microsoft Office. There are search engines with better algorithms than Google launched in the mid-90s. There are social networks with better design than Facebook had in 2007. They're gone. And the inferior product with better distribution is now worth trillions. Distribution is not marketing. Distribution is your theory of how your product reaches the people who need it, at scale, faster than your competitors can copy you. It's your channels, your partnerships, your network effects, your viral loops, your pricing model, your word-of-mouth engine, all of it working together. The founders who get distribution right ask a different question from the start. They don't ask who wants this product. They ask, what does someone have to believe to tell a friend about this? That question forces you to design distribution into the product from day one, not bolted on afterward when you realize your product isn't growing on its own. Here's the assignment. Map out exactly how your first 100 customers will find you, why they'll stay, and how each one makes it more likely that the next one shows up. If you can't map that chain clearly and cheaply, you don't have a business model. The final mental shift, and in many ways the most powerful, is this. Most of your competitors are optimizing for the next quarter. If you're willing to optimize for the next decade, you are playing a fundamentally different game, and you have almost no competition. This isn't just philosophy, it's strategy. When your time horizon is longer than everyone else's, you can make bets they won't. You can invest in things with slow payoffs that look unprofitable in year 2, and become unassailable in year 7. You can sacrifice short-term metrics to build deep customer relationships. You can survive temporary downturns that wipe out rivals who were managing to shorter timelines. The great companies in every generation share this trait. They were misunderstood, often for years. People called them unprofitable, unfocused, even reckless. And then the time horizon collapsed, and everyone could finally see what the founders had seen all along. So ask yourself, what does this business look like if it takes 10 years to build correctly? What are the advantages that only become available to someone willing to wait that long? What relationships, what knowledge, what infrastructure accumulates over time in a way that money alone can't buy? That's where the real moat is. Not in your code, not in your features, in your willingness to play a game that most people quit before they see the result. 5 lessons. Fall in love with the problem. Manufacture your crisis early. Focus until it's uncomfortable. Design distribution in from day one, and play a longer game than anyone around you. If even one of those shifted something for you, there's a lot more where that came from. Subscribe to Founder Fuel, and we'll see you in the next one.